This is too heavy for its own good. It weighs about 9 to 11 pounds, and I thought the PlayStation 5 was a big boy. It's tall. PS5 is taller than this. This is your PlayStation 2.5. They very short-lived in Japan, lasting about only a year. They came out in 2003. In 2004, they were discontinued. They call this the PSX, as you can see right here. It's not a PS1. Now, granted, it can play PS1, PS2 games, granted with the disc only in the Japan region. It was not designed by Sony Computer Entertainment America. Instead, it was actually designed by Sony Pictures. And there's a lot of interesting design choices on why that is. For example, so this is right. If you look at the front of it, it only has your memory card slots up front, and of course your disc slot. On the backhand side, however, you have your controller ports here, along with your antenna inputs, AV in and out, your component, D terminal in Japan, optical, network, as well as your power. It does have a built-in hard drive, albeit these things are incredibly brittle. I don't recommend using it for a long period of time. One thing that I found really cool about it, I have an AV switch where you can plug in multiple things. Got on Amazon, it's like only $20. They're fairly inexpensive. I have one cord ran from this to this switch, and I can pretty much capture gameplay footage from those AV consoles. Granted, it's not going to be hyper smooth or upscale. You got to think about, these came out during a time before YouTube. YouTube wasn't even a thing. Twitch was not even a thing. Sony, from what I've read and from the videos that I've watched, they wanted to have an all-in-one entertainment system that allowed you to hook up like your VCR, DVD player, your cable box to it. You can play PS2 games, in that region, PS1 games, although you cannot record footage directly from those discs. The AV pass-through, so if you had another PlayStation 2 next to it, you could run the PS2 through it, record your gameplay footage, and save it for later. Granted, something that was ahead of its time. I believe it's a beautiful system in what it looks like. Very tall. You have your different orientations. Now, granted, having it upright can take up a lot of space. I have seen other orientations where it's actually on its front side like this. Now, granted, this one is missing the flap in the front, but of course you have memory card readers. Here, you have your buttons that you can use to traverse the menu. USB 1.0, yes, 1.0, not 1.1. There's a method going around and preserving the hard drive, which is something called free boot. It's a memory card that you can boot into that goes around, and you can boot into some homebrew software. You can use that to load up like PS2 games and stuff, but don't expect the videos to play at full speed. This is also the very first system that introduced what Sony created, their XMB platform. Shortly after this system, the XMB was of course reused on the PlayStation Portable. Afterwards, we saw it on the PlayStation 3. It slowly went away when they brought the PlayStation Vita out before, and of course, it's non-existent on the 5. But the same idea, going left, right, up, down, still there. It's just not as literally what like the XMB does. Lastly, there was 2 units that this came out. You had the DSR 5000 series or 5100, which is right here. There's another one which I'm going to have pictured here momentarily, which is the DSR 7000 series. The only difference is the firmware that comes on board with these. They're locked to the hard drive. No one's found a way to at least not completely break it open yet. What that means is on the second model, you can actually grab the memory sticks, the memory stick duos, which again, this precursed the PlayStation Portable. Again, they use some of the design factors from this system and put into their future systems. The other unit is not going to have an all-white background like this one does. I ordered this from Japan. It got about a month ago, and it came all beat up. There's some still scratches and stuff on it, but I managed to clean some of it up for the video. The other model has like a nice etched paint job. It goes from like blue to silver. It looks really cool. And it also has an indicator light that's on it where this one doesn't have. They released them in 2 different SKUs. You had your 160 gig variation and your 250 gig variation. There's also different levels of quality of recording, which I'll have a video up here to show what that looks like as well. This, I believe, is a fine piece of PlayStation history. Does a lot of cool things. Do I recommend that you run out and go purchase one? No. If you're a collector, something cool to look at, something to have just in a shelf, play from time to time, sure. I got mine because I wanted something that could act as a pass-through device. And I've always just wanted to have one of these since I was a kid. I remember reading the reports at E3 2002, I believe. I think I was like 7 or 8 at the time. And at the time, PlayStation 2 was really big. They were, from what industry would put, an unstoppable force at the time. Of course, now we know in today's age, the PlayStation 2 is the #1 selling system of all time. I believe the Nintendo Wii and the PlayStation 4 are like right behind it, but Sony was using what they've already built the momentum on with the PS2, wanted to use this as something that could live alongside of it. However, when they had launched it, like the PlayStation 3 launch, $599 US, didn't have a lot of support for it. There's a lot of moving parts on it. And as such, it lived a short life cycle. Now, granted, you can find these on eBay. I don't think you can find them on Amazon. I was going to go to Japan and find one at Hardoff, because I learned these ones you can find in junk bins all over Japan. Much like here in the States, VCRs, DVD players, cassette tapes are just everywhere in like pawn shops. So there's not something that people want to run out and go get. So that's why here it's like, oh, it's rare, it's working, it's expensive. It's expensive. It's only like $200 if you import one over from overseas. That's not working. I should preface that. The disk drive on this does not work. The hard drive does make noises like it's functioning, but I don't see, hopefully it's not going out anytime soon. You can go around the hard drive boot using, like I said, homebrew software, but at that point, it would just be a PlayStation 2 because the DVR part would not even be functional. I greatly appreciate everyone for tuning in. This was a really fun video for me to explore and to kind of get my feet wet in the editing process. I will leave you with some footage that I captured from a PlayStation 5 through my PSX system. Granted, it's not going to be 4K 120Hz quality. However, I do hope you enjoy. Please leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Share it if you want. I put some time into it, so I really appreciate what I did. And yeah, so I'll leave it at that. Thanks again, folks, for tuning in, and I'll catch y'all next time. Later.
Ha!